Hello friend, my name is Raza Masood. Today we will discuss about the topic is user story. Friend, I'm sure that as a user or as a project manager, you definitely heard about this topic, user story. Nowadays, it is a very common thing that people are talking about Scrum and waterfall methodology, and so many people are basically using, so many organizations are using the Scrum methodology. So, let's start our tutorial. First of all, please subscribe to my channel and also click on the bell option. So, coming back to the topic, what is basically a user story in a Scrum? First of all, let me tell you that a Scrum is a methodology to implement a project with an iterative approach. In the Scrum methodology to implement a project, there is a topic, there is a thing called as user story. What is basically a user story? Before going into the deep, just consider these two words: user story. User means who is basically using the system, and story means story like requirement. So basically user story, it's a simplest way of documenting the requirements and desired and user functionality. What does that mean actually? For example, user story means, just remember that it is basically a requirement of user and user requirement. For example, if a customer has a requirement that the user can do the payment through credit card, so it's basically a requirement. Customer has a requirement that he wants to build a e-commerce website, and the what whoever the user are coming on the website, they should be registered on the website. uh, for example, catalog can be customized as per the need of user. So basically remember, the user story means the requirement of user, requirement of customer, requirement of end user. In simple words, it's a very basic requirement, a very basic end user requirement. This is called the user story. User story means the requirement of user. Here, user story basically tells you three things about the requirement: who, what, and why. Let me tell you, friends, that Scrum is a very simple way. It does not require that you do a lot of documentation as compared to waterfall model. In the Scrum, basically the thing is that you have to focus only on the requirement, that what basically is the requirement, what we have to do in the to do the to do in the software to achieve the requirement of customer. So just remember one thing, that user story means tells you three things: who, what, and why. Okay, this is called a basic pattern of user story. User story format. A user story format is basically has a very basic format. Like for example, user story format means, as a role role I should be able to, requirement, so that, benefit. As a I should be, and so that. As a role, here comes the role, I should be able to, requirement, so that, benefit. Let me give you an example, a very basic example here. As a database administrator, role came here, I should be able to revert a selected number of database updates, there comes the requirement, so that the desired version of database is restored, there comes the benefit. So whenever you are writing a user story in a Scrum methodology, you have to consider the role, the requirement, and the benefit, and in a very simple way. There is no need to do lot of documentation of etc. Blah blah. No, there is no need to do all these things. In a very simple, in a very short, in a very easy to understand way, you have to write the story. And the story format is that you need to know the role, you need to know the basic requirement, and then you need to know the benefit. As a, for example, as a database administrator, here comes the role. I should be able to revert a selected number of database updates so that the desired version of database is restored. So this is called the user story format. And remember one thing, friends, that in the Scrum methodology, the main focus is on customer side to achieve successfully the requirements of customer in a and implementing in a software project. So just remember one thing, that in a Scrum you don't need to do lot of documentation. Documentation is less as compared to waterfall model. The main focus is to achieve customer satisfaction through achieving the requirements of customer and successful implementation of project. So just remember one thing, user story means the requirement of user, requirement of customer. So and in a very simple way you should be able to write the user stories and to implement a project. So guys, I hope I have tried my level best to explain you the topic and to the concept of user story, and I hope you understood it. If you still have any query and you want to ask any question from my side, I would love to answer your query. Please do ask from me, and I will definitely try my level best to explain you in more detail. Also, if you want from me to make more videos on the Scrum methodology, please do ask from me, and I will definitely make more videos. So thanks a lot, friends. That's all from my side, and thank you. Please share it with your friends and colleagues.